Welcome back to Rails Minute, where you can find out more about what is happening with the library system. I'm Dan Bostrom, Rails Director of Marketing and Communication, and I'm here with Monica Harris, Rails Executive Director. Hi, Monica.
Hi, Dan.
So, welcome to 2025. We took a break from Rails Minute around the winter holidays, but we are officially back in full swing.
We sure are. It's nice to see you and nice to be here.
So with the news of the federal grant freeze, we received a lot of questions from our members about how Rails might be affected by all of this. Can you explain where Rails gets its funding?
Yes, so as some of you might know, most of the funding for Rails comes directly from the Illinois State Library and the Secretary of State. Now, the Illinois State Library does receive a portion of federal funding that comes from IMLS, or the Institute of Museum and Library Services. And Rails does receive part of that funding in order to fund delivery. But overall, that federal funding makes up about 10% of the Illinois State Library's budget and what they have in place. So I know a lot of people are really concerned, and loss of federal funding really does matter a lot to our libraries of all types for many, many different reasons. But what I want people to know and to understand is that Rails is in a good position to continue to offer them the services that they depend on. We have good financial reserves, we have strong partnerships throughout the state, and the Illinois State Library also understands how important the systems are to continuing to serve our members. So I just want to offer some level of reassurance to folks who I know are a little concerned that while this is a really important and big issue that we want to pay as much attention to as we can, it's just something to understand that we're in good position to keep offering our members the things they need.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to everyone that reached out to us and asked us. You know, it's a good reminder for us to talk about our value, right? And for you all as well to talk about your value as library staff and people working in libraries.
That's right.
So we've been hearing, speaking of concern,
Yeah.
we've been hearing some concern from our member libraries about legal issues related to libraries, just trouble navigating some of these issues. So can you talk about what Rails is doing to help members in that area?
Yeah, I mean, I want to first acknowledge that there is a lot of change happening. Things are happening at such a fast pace that it can be hard to even know sometimes what questions to respond to or how quickly the pace can change. But Rails is really committed to making sure that we are here to support our libraries, and as things come up, we're going to be here to keep answering those questions. So I'll give you a couple examples of some things that have come up pretty recently. One is about immigration enforcement. We received a lot of questions from our libraries who wanted to know how to react to changes related to immigration enforcement. Rails did have a memo recently released. This was from Ansel Glink, our legal counsel, about everything that you need to know about making sure that you understand how to react to visits from ICE or any other questions related to immigration enforcement. That's an update of a memo from 2017, but it has all that you need to know here in 2025. So we recently released that information with the hopes that folks would take a look at that. We also, after a visit at our February member update from Julie Tappendorf to talk about meeting rooms and First Amendment issues, are also going to be releasing an FAQ related to meeting rooms and everything that libraries need to know about how to be in compliance with those issues as well. But that said, new things are going to come our way, right? And so we all need to practice a little bit of flexibility as we understand how to react to new things and new changes. The most important thing that I want all of our members to remember is that the work that you are doing is so important to your communities. And so I want to thank you for the work that you're doing, even amidst like a lot of uncertainty, but also to remember that as professionals, we have a set of professional ethics that we adhere to. And when we have questions about what it is that we should be doing, we're lucky enough to have a list of things that we can go to at ALA that let us know exactly the types of decisions that we should be looking at and how to make them. So we have frameworks, but we will also be here to answer those questions, and I want to encourage all of our members to reach out directly to anybody here at Rails to let us know when you have a concern, and we're going to do our best to get it answered.
Yeah, that's such a great point about, sometimes just doing your job, right, and serving your public and controlling the things that you can control.
That's right.
Is the only thing that you can do.
And it matters to people.
It matters to people.
It really matters to your community. So keep your heart in that, and keep your focus on that, because it will make a difference.
I'll have to remind myself that occasionally.
Right.
Yeah. So as we talk about serving communities, it's important to remember that we serve everybody out there, right? One way we can do that is offering resources in different languages. But sometimes that's a struggle for our member libraries who might not be staffed to provide that sort of service in their own libraries. So can you talk a little bit about how libraries can get help in that area?
Yeah, so the World Language Cataloging Services Program is a statewide catalog support program for Illinois Library System members. The service provides essentially supplementary cataloging. So if folks need help with cataloging a material that is in a language that they don't know how to catalog in, Rails can help with that. We do have a form on our website that anyone who's interested in pursuing that can let us know. You can have the opportunity to send in physical items, photocopies, other items to help those things to get cataloged, and we can help. Nancy George, who's our Rails Cataloging Services Manager, leads up this program and is very capable of answering any questions that you have. But if you have materials that are in a language that you've been struggling figuring out how to catalog, please contact Rails, and we can help get that in the hands of your patrons.
Yeah, it's a cool service, and I know a lot more libraries are thinking about these things, right? Offering languages, offering materials in a lot of different languages.
That's right.
That'll do it for this episode of Rails Minute, and I want to just remind everyone, if you have questions for Monica or myself, you can always email us, communications@railslibraries.org. You can get Rails Minute as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And Monica, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you all for watching.